This evening on the Awareness Magazine show, I would like to introduce internationally recognized and award-winning children's book author and illustrator Suzy McGregor, who goes by the nom de plume Suzy McGregor. Hi, Suzy. Thank
Hi,
you for
Yolanda.
being here this evening
It's
with
a
us.
pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So first, I would like to ask you, please tell us, our audience, how you became a children's book illustrator and author.
Well, this was one of the first books that I wrote the manuscript to, and it's Izzy and Dizzy, The Adventures of Izzy and Dizzy, and it's about two mice and their uncle, and they go to New York to meet their relatives. And so I hired a professional editor, thinking that she could read it and tell me if I needed to rewrite something or what to add, change. And when I went to sit with her, she said, "Oh, Suzy, I feel so bad. You're going to have to rewrite this and all the other stories." And I said, "But why?" And she said, "Well, you have mice dressing like people, talking like people, and they're the size of people, and mice should be little mice that are in the city of New York running around, and you've got them as big as regular people." I said, "Oh my gosh, somebody should have told Walt Disney that he had Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and Pluto, all the same size, acting like regular people." But when you think about the classics, like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride or Wind in the Willows, here was, animals, and they were dressed like people, and they were talking like people, living like people, and caring about each other like people.
Right.
And so driving home, I paid her, and driving home, I thought, you know what, I'm going to forget the professional editor. And I went to the local school and got 3 of their top students, and they became my student editors.
How smart.
And I paid them $1 a page, and they would read through the manuscripts, and then we would sit down and they would tell me what words either they didn't understand or they thought should be changed. We had more fun laughing and putting the stories together, and that's how it all started.
And that's the way it should be, fun, being put together.
Yeah, and from there I thought, okay, I'll enter some of the book festivals and find out if there's anything there of value or not. And so that's when I started then entering book festivals, and when I started winning some awards, I thought, oh, well, maybe I have something here to offer.
And they're wonderful, and you teach the importance of the environment through these books. Please go into that a little bit.
Yes, I really believe that it's very, very important for parents, grandparents, to involve the children in our environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nature is everything. And I mean, to walk them on the beach, to, yes, take them to Disneyland, take them to these parks of entertainment, but take them to our national parks. They'll never forget it. And they'll have a new appreciation not only for nature, but for themselves.
Right.
And the beauty. And then animals, are so important in children's lives. And I think that the responsibility of an animal in the home is wonderful for children to learn discipline and responsibility of taking care of and loving an animal, because it gives them appreciation not only of themselves and their brothers, sisters, and family, but also of all animals.
Right.
And animals are loving, very loving.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. They absolutely are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And regarding animals, you did once mention to me that animals are our greatest teachers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe so. When you look at so many of the movies the great movies for children that have been made. It's animals teaching everyone that's viewing the film. It's wonderful. And Walt Disney was very big on using animals to teach. But if you will think of like Beatrice Potter, classic books, it was always the animals and the love shared and the understanding. And it's like adults can talk with a child, and if they get into lecturing, the child will tune them out. But if you stood a rabbit before that child to tell them what they had to do or not do, that child would probably listen to every word the rabbit said.
Yeah.
And so, yes, animals are wonderful teachers, and so that's really why so many of the children's books go into presenting ideas of living and loving with animals.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you and your husband Ray had met Walt Disney, and please tell us about that. And I know he gave you a great quote.
Well, my husband Ray and I were up in Wagon Wheel Gap, Creede, Colorado, back in 1964, the summer of, and we were managing two very small elite resorts. And Walt Disney and his family came to spend 5 days on the ranch, and his daughters were both engaged at the time, so they were off horseback riding, and his wife loved just being on the deck at the cabin. And every morning Walt would be meeting me for breakfast, and we would have breakfast together, and then we would walk the ranch and maybe just sit at different places in the ranch. And the whole time, Walt was just pouring his life into me. I mean, his philosophy of life, his, successes in his opinion, his failures in his opinion, the movie he thought was the greatest movie he ever made. And if God ever wants you to listen to someone give you the very best. Well, what happened was, as Walt got into the limo to leave, he hopped out and he said, "Suzy, where's Ray?" And I said, "He's in the office." And he said, "Well, get him. I want my picture taken with you." And then after the picture, Walt started to get back into the limo, and he stopped and he turned and he looked at me and he said, "Suzy, never give up your dreams, and always remember that failure is stepping stones to success." Well, those words have traveled through my life with me, and they've been wonderful words, and I share them with everyone out there. Please take them to heart, because I really believe never give up your dreams. And Walt certainly didn't. It wasn't just a piece of cake. And failures, we learn from failures, and the beauty of it is that it's like football. You can play your best game, lose a game, and you get to go out and play again. And that's life. And so don't be afraid of failure. Let it teach you the lessons that you'll be better the next time, and you get to go play again.
Yeah, you keep going, you keep growing.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And well, let's share some books with the audience, and let's start.
I'd love to. This series here was the first series I wrote, and The Adventures of Izzy and Dizzy. And Uncle Wizzy takes they're all mice, and he takes them to New York to meet their relatives, and they also go to the Empire State Building and they meet the architect, Mr. Lamb, who was the real architect.
Oh.
And you may not know, but the Empire State Building was built in the Depression, and they built it in 1 year.
Oh, wow.
It was totally amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And beautiful architecture.
Yeah, and they go visit the Statue of Liberty, and they learn a whole lot about our culture in America. And with that, they learn they have relatives in Great Britain. So off they go to London and to Scotland, and they go through castles and meet ghosts, and they have a wonderful time. And Aunt Sophie McEwen in Edinburgh tells him there is a black sheep in the family that lives on the left bank, and he's an artist. And so off they go to Paris, and they learn about our cultural arts of France, and they learn the importance of being an artist, a dancer, a writer, being creative. And they have a wonderful time in Paris, and they learn from Pierre de Beau, their third cousin, that he is sending money to Chin Chin Wu in China, who is a young 12-year-old who wants to become an artist, and he wants to come to Paris to study at the American Paris Academy of Arts, which is a real place. And so off they go to China, and now they learn about the culture of China and the Wu family. And they also go to Hong Kong, and they have wonderful experience learning about cultures as they visit these countries. And of course, on the way back to California, they stop in Paradise, Hawaii, and they learn about the Hawaiian culture, which is really a very special culture. And I lived in Hawaii for 20 years, so I really do know the Hawaiian culture. And so those are those. And then there's a book here, The Greatest Wonder in the World, and is You. And it's a fun story because we really are the greatest wonder in the world. This is why you, why me, why now. If Abraham Lincoln walked into your schoolroom today and sat down, what would he say to you? And he would say that in all of civilization, there has never been a country with a birthday but America. So why do we celebrate your birthday? Why do we celebrate my birthday? And why do we celebrate America's birthday? And that's what that book's about. And this is Sue Lin and Yellow Tiger on the Silk Road. It's a high adventure. It's amazing what they go through together and the growth that takes place. And she is telling the story at the age of 12, and she runs away with Yellow Tiger at the age of 7.
Aww.
And it's special. This is all about sportsmanship and soccer, and you can see on the back of the book, sometimes I put the student editor's picture on the back when they endorse the book.
How sweet.
And so anyway, and this one is about the Garden Fairy and Mrs. Mouse, and it's really a delight because Mrs. Mouse is older and she has the wisdom to share, and the Garden Fairy is young and she knows all the latest about color of flowers, how they affect us, fruits, vegetables. This is Moon Leopard, and Moon Leopard is all about a young man who is just sad in life, and Moon Leopard appears and teaches him how to live a magical life. And of course, Princess Aloha is all fun stories about how to solve problems, not to get angry, but to have fun. And then Imagination Island, the flowers own the island, and they love Jamaican music, and they teach their aunts to play the music, and it's just fun. And then The Christmas Cat is all about a kitty cat that tells the story of growing up and how he climbed as a kitten the Christmas tree and what happened, and how people love animals is important.
Absolutely.
So those
That's
are the
beautiful.
books. And they're fun because they're about life values.
They are. Thank you, Suzy. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your wonderful stories with us and your beautiful books. Thank you so much, Suzy.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.